So let me talk here first about the foundation. We have here the Five of Swords. This is a very tit for tat type of an energy. You know, it's like, these are the arguments that I'm actually feeling playing out. You know, this is, if you look at the sword, this is somebody with wealth, right? So one person could be like the provider in the relationship. And the argument goes, I make the money, so I make the decisions. And then the other person feels very disempowered. The other person is like, I take care of everything at home. So you could be, you know, like a stay-at-home mother, stay-at-home father, and the other person could be like the primary breadwinner in the household. And one person feels very empowered because they feel like, you know, I make all the money. I need to make the executive decisions. And then the other person is like, but I take care of everything else. Without me, how would you be able to succeed with no one taking care of the household and the children? And, you know, we're co-parenting, or we're sharing responsibilities here, but one person is not playing fair. So I feel like the energy is very combative. It's very cutthroat, and it's about like keeping scores. It's about who contributes what. And it's also, as well, with the nature of the sword energy, it's almost like dividing up assets, making severance, kind of like cutting things off. I feel like you're dealing with somebody who keeps interrupting when you talk. And I feel like you're dealing with somebody who is a little bit more on the selfish end, and they know how to say things to really chip away at your self-esteem. We have as well the Judgment card. And the Judgment card basically indicates that you need to move on from this because there isn't any type of a clear resolution here. So if this is like a separation, I feel like you're going to be moving away from this partner. If this is like a temporary argument, I feel like it's going to lead to something very final, mainly because somebody's feelings will get hurt. Okay. And with the sword energy, swords are piercing. They can be very hurtful. They deal with communication. They deal with a situation where communication has broken down and everyone wants to get the last word in. And when we're at that point where we're struggling to keep our senses about us, the last word will be very hurtful. So I feel this is pretty much where things are headed. And so be the bigger person, check yourself out of this situation before things, you know, kind of derail. Okay. I'm feeling as well, there are resources split up between two people. So you might be finalizing a divorce. You might have been dealing with this tension for quite some time, and now assets and things like that are finally getting separated between two people, divvied up between two people. And I also feel there is a sense here, family will be a source of emotional support for you during this time if you're dealing with this. And if you're dealing with this, I'm very sorry. I just feel like it's not really going anywhere. It's very cyclical. And new agreements, new reconciliations can't really be had in this situation, okay? So try your best to remove yourself from this energy. So I'm sorry, the video froze up on me. So we finished talking about the foundation. Let's talk about the past. In the past, we have here the Strength card as well as the Queen of Coins. And let me just say this, because this is screaming out. You were taking care of somebody. This is like through thick and thin. You were taking care of somebody through their worst times, through their, you know, through all of their victories, you were there. Through all of their failures, you were there. Through all the days that they were sick, through times where they were, I want to say, incredibly dealing with, you know, self-esteem issues. So you were there through all of it, through thick and thin. And I feel like you really, really cherished this person, and you were always physically, emotionally there for them. And as a result of this relationship, what we have as well is the Queen of Coins. And it's almost like losing yourself in a relationship because You were constantly caring for, playing the mother role to the other person. You could be a male figure dating, male or female, and playing the maternal role, because this is really not what a relationship is about. But I feel like you stayed in it, and you constantly gave and gave and gave. And then at the end of the day, you find yourself at a point where you weren't able to take care of yourself. You could no longer take care of yourself. You're not motivated enough to. And so this is a situation that is ongoing. It's in the past. Some of you might have been dealing here with an earth sign, a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. And I feel like the energy can go both ways. They were taking care of you or you were taking care of them. But I do feel that you might have been very emotionally invested in the relationship at the expense of making decisions to kind of better yourself, or making decisions where you needed to draw back your energy and to take care of yourself. And I feel like this is a situation that is still ongoing, which brings us to the present moment. We have the Death card in the reverse. This is going back to a situation that was not good for you. And I'm also sensing as well, with this Death card in the reverse position, it's somebody that you might have, had falling out with, that there was a lot of conflict. So it could very well be the same person. But now that they need you for whatever reason, it could be because they're not feeling well. It could be they're having that self-esteem, they needed a self-esteem boost, or they're going through some financial issues as well as some emotional issues. I'm also seeing some dependency issues like chemical, drugs, alcohol dependencies. And you're going to swoop in and you want to play this fairy godmother role. Okay. I'm feeling that sometimes we have to really understand the difference between when we crave that feeling of being wanted and needed and try to substitute that with something else, making, positive strides in your life, or feeling empowered from within so that we don't need another person to validate our worth, and we don't need another person to kind of validate what our assets are, what our skills are, what we're good at. You're very, very nurturing, caring by nature. And I feel like a lot of the times you want to feel needed and wanted and appreciated. And if you're not getting that type of a validation, I feel like you might have the tendency to pick partners that are constantly down in the dumps, that constantly need saving. So I feel here people returning to exes, and I'm feeling as well, while you have new things that are coming into the picture. And, that's for those of you who are in bad relationships, because I feel like the other person might not be bad, but there's just no sense of agreement. There's no, there isn't just, the relationship is not very stable. It's not going to lead to something new. It's not going to lead to a turning point. It's more like a fork in the road, and you're going to have to decide, do I go back to this, or do I venture out into with a new person, or into a new way? Crowning this reading, we have here the Nine of Cups, lack of emotional satisfaction from a relationship, and the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles pretty much indicates communication breakdown, not building with another person, not being able to retain money with another person. So some of you are with somebody, and when you're with them, they drain your finances. When you're away from them, you're prosperous, things are starting to look up, and then they come calling, and then you come back in, and then energetically, they're really blocking a lot of your prosperity. Okay? And that is a real thing, because if you are siphoning off your energy, taking care of other people, and you're not getting replenished and reciprocated energetically, you're not going to be able to go out into the world, attract positive things, because you're running on empty. Does that make sense? So it is a thing, and you need to really be mindful. And that's why, we always teach being mindful about who you give your energy to, where you give your energy to, and what reserve do you have left for yourself? Because I feel some of you are running on empty, constantly wanting to take care of other people. And you're not saving any for yourself. And this is not done out of selfishness. This is the rule of the universe. It's about reciprocity. It's about doing things to people or situations that deserve your energy. Okay? So not throwing your energy down an abyss that you will never get back, because I feel like that's what makes you run on empty. And when you can't really manifest and attract new things when you're in that state. Okay? So I just want you to be a little bit mindful of that. For others of you, I do feel a solid, good relationships. And I do feel this is pretty much, overcoming differences and overcoming family expectations between two people. Okay. Like, there might be, family, members imposing upon you and your relationship partner. This is what you should do. This is how you raise kids, or this is how you should, live together. So I feel like some of you are overcoming that. So we have here a very, very solid couple. We have the King of Wands as well as the Queen of Wands. So you might be dealing with a fire sign. So Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And I feel even in this, it's a good couple because both people are at a point now where they're very, very independent. They know how to take care of themselves. They know how to be together, but also they know how to be alone. They complement each other well. One person might take care of the home. The other person might, go on adventures, goes to work and, brings home the money. But I do feel overall, even with this depiction, there are still power differentials and there are still some type of imbalances that needs to be worked out. But I feel you have an opportunity to work things out. And some of you are still dealing with this person that you have children with. This is a family unit. She is taking care of the kids. And I feel like this person, and these cards are not gender specific, okay? So one person's taking care of the kids is like the nurturer, and the other person wants something more out of the relationship. And I feel like you're at a point now where you're trying to decide. You're trying to decide pretty much whether or not you want to stay in an existing relationship or you want to venture out and look for greener pastures, look for someone else who's a lot more compatible with you. So I do see a lot of conflicts here. I do see some of you, if you're involved with the fire sign, there's a sense here about, loyalty and fidelity. So I don't feel like, there's infidelity here, but I do see a lot of creative differences. And it can be resolved, but I feel like it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of self-awareness. It needs a lot of things need to be out in the open and needs to be discussed in a very, straightforward type of a way. And I feel like if you're dealing with a partner you might be dealing with a partner who wants more out of life. Okay. For those who are single, I have fire signs that actually would be a really dynamic match for you. It might be something that is very, exciting, fun, really enticing in the beginning. But then over time, I feel like the differences between the two of you might be a little bit too much for the relationship. So you have a person here that is very, attracted to you. They're very enthusiastic and you're trying to decide whether or not you want to go with them. So I have Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, and this person might have children of his or her own. But I feel like this is a very good relationship for the time being. I just don't see it being too permanent, and I don't see a lot of compatibilities overall, but I feel like it can work temporarily. Okay. So it's an okay relationship for now, and they're a good person. They have a good heart. They want to take care of you. And keep in mind, we need to all take care of ourselves. We need to be independent, self-sufficient before we can invite another person into our life. So this is setting up a cycle already that I'm not too happy with, but I feel like this is a really spirited, honest, loyal type of a person. So you just have to decide whether or not it's worth it, because I don't feel it being long-term. but I feel that it can work. And I feel like there's a lot you can learn from that other person. There's a lot they can learn from you. You're learning to be a lot more independent, to grab opportunities, to be more spontaneous. And I feel they're learning from you to be nurturing, to be more sensitive, to slow down a little bit and appreciate the smaller, finer things in life. And so in a way, you have a lot to learn from each other. And because of that, it should come in and it should be experience. So don't sit on the fence with this too long. I feel like it can bring a lot of learning. It's a steep learning curve though, but I feel like it's a good experience where you can grow and learn a lot from the other person. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that, Pisces. I do wish you all the best. I feel like, you know, the relationship in the past, if you've had an earth sign here, a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, I feel like it's already in the past. I don't feel going back to it is going to give you anything new. And I do see a lot of conflicts as well. Okay. New people, if it's a brand new fire sign, I feel like it can work out and it looks pretty promising.